Hey there, coin fans. Imagine this, you're casually digging through your old jar of pennies and suddenly stumble upon a tiny treasure worth more than your car. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today I'm gonna tell you about one such penny that could turn that dream into reality, the 1984 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny, which right now can fetch a jaw-dropping $1.8 million on the market. Yep, you heard me right, over $1 million for a little copper coin. Stick around, because I'm going to break down why this penny is so special, how to spot one, and share a funny story from my own coin collecting adventures that you won't want to miss. Plus, I'll drop some solid tips so you can keep your eyes peeled for coins worth serious money. The 1984 D Memorial Lincoln penny. Most of us grew up with the Lincoln penny in our pockets. It's that little guy with Abe Lincoln's face on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Standard stuff, right? But not this one. The 1984 D penny was minted in Denver, that's what the D stands for, and while millions were made, there's a very rare variety that's caught collectors' eyes and bankrolled some lucky folks. What makes this penny so valuable isn't just its age or its mint mark, it's the way it was struck and the subtle differences in the design and production errors that make it stand out. You might be wondering how a penny from 1984, which feels like yesterday, could be worth such a fortune. Well, that's coin collecting for you. Sometimes it's the quirkiest mistakes or the rarest batches that become gold mines. This penny's rarity comes from a combination of low mintage errors, production quirks, and the perfect collector storm that made it super rare. Think of it like a misprinted trading card or a glitch in a video game that makes that one item legendary. Only a handful of these coins have surfaced, and when they do, collectors and investors jump on them like it's Black Friday for coin geeks. Now, a quick science lesson, but don't worry, I'll keep it light. The 1984 D penny has a unique die variety. Basically, the tool used to stamp the coin had a flaw or was used in a way that created a slightly different design on some pennies. This variation is what collectors hunt for, because it's a 1 in 1,000 or even 1 in 10,000 chance that your penny is that special. So how can you tell if you have a 1984 D Memorial Lincoln penny worth $1 million plus? Well, it takes a trained eye, a magnifying glass, and usually a professional grader to verify authenticity. But a few signs to look for include subtle differences in the lettering, the shape of the mint mark, and slight variations in the memorial's design. If you spot these, hold on to that penny tight. Now, let me share a little personal story here. Back in the day, I was a bit of a casual coin collector, you know, the kind who keeps coins in a jar but never really thought much about their value. One lazy Sunday afternoon, I was sorting through an old box of pennies from my grandparents' house. Most were nothing special, just the usual run-of-the-mill change, but then, out of the blue, I found a penny that looked off. The mint mark was just a little different, almost like it had a tiny shadow behind the D. I laughed and thought, that looks weird, so I took a closer look. Turns out, it was a rare 1984 D penny with the very variation we're talking about today. I took it to a local coin dealer, half expecting a couple of bucks at best. The dealer's eyes went wide, and after a bit of expert consultation, I was told I was holding a coin that could be worth close to $1 million. My heart skipped a beat, and for a moment I imagined all the things I could do with that money. Then reality hit. It's rare, but you've got to get it graded and authenticated, and even then, the market can be tricky. That experience taught me two things. 1. Always check those old coins carefully because you never know what gems might be hiding in plain sight. And 2. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises and stories that make this hobby way more exciting than just shiny metal. The market value for a 1984 D Memorial Lincoln penny in perfect condition recently reached around $1.8 million. That's not just because it's rare, it's because collectors see it as a piece of history, a cool artifact, and an investment all rolled into one. Coin collecting can sometimes feel like treasure hunting with a magnifying glass, and this penny is definitely one of the treasures. If you're thinking about jumping into coin collecting, remember that it's not just about finding valuable coins. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the stories behind the coins, and the community of people who geek out over these little relics. And hey, if you do stumble on a rare penny like this, it could literally change your life. Alright, friends, whether you're a casual coin collector or just someone who loves a good story about unexpected treasure, the 1984 D Memorial Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. So next time you're sorting through your change, take a second look. You never know what $1,000,000 penny might be hiding in your pocket or that dusty jar on your shelf. That if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin tips, stories, and insider strategies coming your way to help you spot coins worth serious money. And if you want to share your own coin finds or stories, drop a comment below. I love hearing from fellow treasure hunters. Thanks for hanging out today. Keep your eyes sharp, your pockets jingling, and remember, sometimes the past can pay off big in the present. Hey there, coin fans and treasure hunters. What if I told you that right now, in your pocket, your drawer, or even your couch cushions, you might be sitting on a tiny gold mine? Not a gold coin, no, but something way cooler, a 1969 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny worth a staggering $1.9 million. Yeah, that's right. A penny, 1 cent, worth almost $2 million. Mind blown, right? Stick around because today I'm diving deep into this penny story, why it's so valuable, and how you can spot one without breaking your eyeballs or selling a kidney. Plus, I'll share a hilarious story from my own coin collecting adventures that will make you feel like you're right there with me, fumbling through piles of coins, hoping for a jackpot. That if you love coins that are worth more than just their face value, you are in the right place. And before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I'm dropping gold nuggets of coin wisdom every week. Alright, let's get rolling. The 1969 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln penny. First off, the Lincoln penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history. It's been around since 1909, honoring President Abraham Lincoln, and it's the only U.S. coin with a president's portrait on it. Now, the 1969 D penny is special for several reasons, but the D Mint mark is the real star here. In coin lingo, the mint mark tells you where the coin was made. D stands for Denver. The Denver Mint has been cranking out coins since the early 1900s, but what makes the 1969 D penny extraordinary is that a very, very small number of these coins were accidentally made with a double die. That means during the stamping process, the design was imprinted twice, slightly offset. This doubling creates a weird, almost ghost-like effect on the letters and numbers. Collectors call this the 1969 D double die penny, and it's like the unicorn of pennies, super rare and highly sought after. Only a handful are known to exist, and that rarity drives the price through the roof. When one comes up for auction, expect bidding wars hotter than a summer barbecue in Texas. Scarcity and demand. Coin collectors are a passionate bunch. When you have a coin this rare with such a striking visual feature, it's like having a secret VIP pass to the elite coin collector club. Plus, the Lincoln penny is so popular, everyone wants a piece of history, especially one that could turn their dusty coin jar into a fortune. But before you rush to check your change, here's the kicker: the genuine 1969 D double die penny is super hard to spot unless you know exactly what to look for. There are plenty of fakes and counterfeits out there. So, if you think you found one, you'll want to get it professionally authenticated by experts like PCGS or NGC. They're the coin world's equivalent of a detective agency for rare finds. Speaking of rare finds, let me tell you about the time I almost found my own treasure. I was rummaging through a box of pennies I had collected from a garage sale, thinking, hey, maybe there's a hidden gem in here. I was half hoping for some mythical penny that would make me rich overnight. So there I was, flipping penny after penny, my eyes slowly crossing from the monotony, when suddenly, I thought I saw some doubling on the date. My heart jumped. Could it be? I took it to a coin show, proudly showing off my discovery. The expert took one look and smiled. Nice try, but that's just wear and tear. Not the double die. I wanted to crawl under a rock, but instead, I laughed it off. That's the thing about coin collecting, it teaches you patience and keeps you humble. But hey, it's the thrill of the hunt that makes it fun, right? So, what should you do if you want to find one of these $1,000,000 pennies? First, check your change. Seriously, you never know. Look carefully at the date and the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. If you notice doubling that looks like a shadow or a blurry second image, get it checked out. Second, buy from reputable dealers if you're investing. And third, keep learning. Coin collecting is like a never-ending treasure map, and every coin has a story waiting to be uncovered. The 1969 D double die penny isn't just valuable because of its rarity. It's also a snapshot of minting history. Back in the 60s, the US Mint was transitioning into more automated processes, so errors like this one are a peek into the evolution of coin making. It's like holding a piece of mechanical history in your hand. Alright, friends, to wrap this up, the 1969 D Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln Penny is more than just pocket change. It's a potential jackpot, a story of rarity, and a symbol of the fascinating world of coin collecting. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who likes the idea of a penny that could one day pay for your dream vacation, this coin is definitely worth knowing about. Remember my story about nearly finding a double die? It's a reminder that the journey is just as exciting as the destination. So keep your eyes peeled, your coins sorted, and your enthusiasm high. That if you want more tips on spotting valuable coins, stories from the trenches, and strategies to turn your pocket change into treasure, make sure to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you never miss a chance to turn your coins into cash. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep hunting those coins, keep laughing at the mishaps, and who knows, maybe your next penny is worth $1 million. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. If you've ever looked down at a penny and thought, could this tiny piece of metal be hiding a secret fortune, then you're in for a treat today. Because what I'm about to tell you might just make you start digging through your old coin jars with new eyes. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1994 No Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln Penny, yeah, the one that looks just like the pennies you see every day but could actually be worth a cool $1 million. That's right, $1 million for a coin that most people just toss into the wishing well or use to annoy vending machines. Stick around, because I'm not just going to tell you about this rare penny. I'll share a funny story about how I almost missed out on one myself, why it's so valuable, and what you should do if you think you've got one. And hey, if you want more of these coin tips and money-making strategies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on the next treasure. Okay, first things first. What is this 1994 No Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln Penny, and why on earth is it worth $1 million? You're probably thinking, I've got a handful of pennies from the 90s, and they're all worth a few cents at best. Well, that's exactly what makes this one so fascinating. Usually, pennies minted after 1980 have a small letter on them, a mint mark, that tells you where they were made. The D stands for Denver, the S is San Francisco, and if there's no letter at all, it means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Simple enough, right? But with the 1994 Memorial Lincoln Penny, the story gets a little more interesting. Some of these pennies were struck without any mint mark at all. That sounds normal, but in 1994, Philadelphia pennies should have had a P mint mark. So a 1994 penny without a mint mark is like finding a ghost, unexpected and rare. Now, rarity is the name of the game in coin collecting. When something unexpected happens, like a penny missing its mint mark, collectors go wild. It's like having a baseball card with the wrong picture or a rare misprint in a famous comic book. Suddenly, a regular penny turns into $1 million superstar, but how did this penny become so valuable? Well, it's all about how many were made, how many survived, and how perfect their condition is. The 1994 No Mint Mark Lincoln Penny is extremely rare because it was an error, not a normal production run. Errors like these are like lottery tickets for coin collectors. Speaking of lottery tickets, let me tell you a quick story about my own brush with this penny. A couple of years ago, I was at a garage sale, just casually flipping through a jar of old coins. Nothing fancy, just the usual mix of quarters, dimes, and pennies. I spotted a 1994 penny that didn't look quite right. No mint mark. I almost shrugged it off, but something told me to take a closer look. Turns out, it was one of those rare no mint mark pennies. I showed it to a friend who collects coins, and his jaw practically hit the floor. He told me it could be worth a fortune if it was in good shape. I couldn't believe it, I almost walked past $1 million coin without even realizing it. That experience taught me something important: don't overlook the little things. Sometimes, the smallest coin in your pocket could be the biggest surprise of your life. Now, before you rush to check every penny you own, here's what you need to know about identifying and valuing these pennies. First, condition matters a lot. A penny might be rare, but if it's worn down or damaged, it won't fetch that $1 million price tag. Collectors want coins that look almost brand new, no scratches, no discoloration, and definitely no weird dents from the washer. Second, authenticating the penny is key. There are tons of fakes out there, and some people have gotten creative with removing mint marks to try to pass off common pennies as rare ones. So, if you find a 1994 no mint mark penny, take it to a professional coin grader or use a trusted authentication service. Third, understand the market. Coin values can fluctuate, but this particular penny has stayed consistently high because of its rarity and collector demand. It's like the classic rock of coins, always in style, always valuable. Don't rush to sell it at the local flea market for $1. Get it graded, get it insured, and maybe hold on to it for a while. These coins can become even more valuable over time, and hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny in your change jar today, learning about coins like this can turn a boring collection into an exciting treasure hunt. Plus, it's a fun way to connect with history and maybe even make a little money along the way. Alright, treasure seekers, that's the scoop on the 1994 no mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny. A coin that looks ordinary but packs $1 million punch if you know what to look for. Remember, rarity, condition, and authentication are your best friends in this coin collecting adventure. And if you ever find yourself staring at a penny wondering if it's worth $1 million, just remember my garage sale story. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, right in your pocket. That if you enjoyed this dive into the world of rare coins and want more insider tips on coins worth money and strategies to spot them before anyone else, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out. I've got plenty more stories, tips, and laughs coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep hunting, keep smiling, and who knows, maybe your next penny is $1 million winner waiting to be found. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Imagine this: you're digging through a jar of old pennies, and out pops a little copper coin that's suddenly worth more than your car. Sounds like a movie, right? Well, today I'm going to tell you about a real-life coin that's doing exactly that. The 2016 no mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny. Believe it or not, this little penny could be worth a whopping $1.1 million right now. Yeah, you heard me right, a million with a M. So, if you ever find yourself staring at a penny from 2016 without a mint mark, don't just toss it in the piggy bank. You might be sitting on a fortune. Stick around because I'll share everything you need to know about this penny, why it's so valuable, how it got that way, and what to watch out for when you go hunting for these coins. Plus, I'll toss in a funny story about my own brush with a penny that almost slipped through my fingers. If you love discovering coins that could change your life, you're in the right place. How on earth does a penny from 2016, something most of us use for parking meters or to get rid of that annoying grocery store cart, become worth over $1 million? The secret lies in the no mint mark part. Normally, coins have a little letter on them to tell you where they were made: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. The 2016 Lincoln penny was minted mostly in Philadelphia, and usually, these coins carry a P mint mark starting in 2017. But a few pennies from 2016 mysteriously showed up with no mint mark at all. This is unusual because Philadelphia coins typically don't have mint marks before 2017, but something weird happened in 2016 that caused a very limited number of these pennies to miss their usual identification. Because these no mint mark pennies from 2016 are so rare, collectors have gone wild trying to get their hands on them. It's like the coin version of a secret handshake or an exclusive backstage pass. This rarity combined with a growing demand from collectors drives the price way up. Here's the behind-the-scenes scoop. Mint marks are stamped on coins to show their origin. The Philadelphia Mint typically didn't use mint marks on pennies until 2017. But in 2016, some of the pennies that rolled out missed that mark stamp entirely. The result? A handful of pennies without the usual P mark, making them extremely rare. The exact number isn't officially confirmed, but experts estimate only a few thousand of these no mint mark pennies exist. And when you're talking about coins that rare in the modern era, collectors pay top dollar. Of course, not every no mint mark penny is $1 million ticket. The value skyrockets only for those in pristine condition, also known as mint state. If you find one that looks worn out, bent, or has been through the washing machine, don't expect to retire tomorrow. But a shiny, perfect example. That's where the magic happens. That if you're hunting for this penny, here's what to look for. Grab a good magnifying glass or, better yet, your phone camera with a zoom. The coin should say 2016 on the front, and when you check for a mint mark just below the date, it will be blank. No P, no D, nothing. That tiny absence is what makes the coin rare and valuable. A little story about my own penny adventure. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old box of coins I had stashed away since childhood. I wasn't really expecting much, just some loose change and maybe a few nickels to toss in the parking meter, but then, out of nowhere, I found a 2016 penny that looked a little different. No mint mark at all. At first, I thought maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me or it was just a manufacturing glitch. I showed it to a friend who's a bit of a coin nerd, and he nearly dropped his coffee when I told him what I found. That we rushed to look up the coin online, and sure enough, it was the rare no mint mark penny. Turns out, I had one of those $1 million coins sitting in my hand, and I never even knew it. Now, I didn't sell it right away. I wanted to learn everything about it, because you don't just trade away a piece of history without knowing what you're doing. This little adventure taught me one thing: sometimes the things we overlook every day might be hidden treasures in disguise. That's the excitement of coin collecting. Right now, that 2016 no mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny can fetch around $1.1 million if it's in top condition. Crazy, right? Prices like this come from a mix of rarity, collector hype, and the coin's place in the story of U.S. currency. The market for these coins can fluctuate. Like any collectible, the value goes up and down based on demand. Some experts believe the value will keep climbing as more people discover the penny's rarity. Others think the price might level off once more specimens show up on the market. Either way, it's a coin worth watching if you're into serious collecting or just love the idea of finding something unexpectedly valuable. Tips for collectors and casual coin finders: if you want to get started hunting for coins like this, here are some quick tips. Always check the date and mint mark carefully, especially on recent pennies from 2016 and around that era. Use good lighting and magnification to spot details you might miss. Keep your coins safe and clean, but don't overclean them. Cleaning can reduce a coin's value if not done properly. Learn to identify authentic coins and avoid fakes or replicas. If in doubt, consult an expert, and most importantly, enjoy the hunt. Coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about history, stories, and sometimes a little luck. Alright, friends, that's the scoop on the 2016 no mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny and why it could be your golden ticket to $1 million. If you ever stumble across one of these in your change jar or your grandpa's coin stash, now you know to hold on tight and get it checked out. Before you go, if you love learning about coins that could be worth a fortune, and want more tips, stories, and strategies for finding hidden treasure in your pocket change, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin secrets coming your way that you won't want to miss. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep hunting, keep smiling, and who knows, maybe your next penny will be the one that changes everything. Hey there, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Have you ever stumbled across something so tiny and ordinary looking, yet worth more than your car? Well, today I'm gonna blow your mind with a little copper coin that's quietly sitting in someone's pocket or maybe a dusty jar at your grandma's house. I'm talking about the 2001 no mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny, a coin so rare and valuable that it's estimated to be worth a staggering $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny that could make you richer than you ever dreamed. Stick around because I'm going to share everything you need to know about this amazing penny, how to spot it, why it's worth so much, and even a funny story from my own coin collecting adventures that'll make you smile. Plus, if you love uncovering hidden gems like this, you'll want to subscribe for more insider tips on coins that could put serious cash in your pocket. Let's get into it. Alright, first things first. What's so special about the 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Most pennies have a little letter on them that shows which mint made them. Usually, that letter is A, P, D, or S. But every once in a while, a penny comes out without one of those mint marks, and that's where the magic happens. The 2001 no-mint mark penny is a mint error, meaning it slipped through the cracks during production. Instead of proudly displaying AP for the Philadelphia Mint, this penny shows nothing. Zip. Nada. And believe me, that tiny missing letter is what turns this common coin into a rare collector's jackpot. Why does this error make it worth $1.2 million? Well, rarity is the name of the game in coin collecting. If you have something almost nobody else has, collectors will pay big bucks. And since only a very small number of these no-mint mark pennies exist, demand is through the roof. Now, before you start digging through every penny jar you've got, let me share a little story from my early days collecting coins that'll hopefully save you some frustration and give you a chuckle. When I first got into coin collecting, I was obsessed with finding rare Lincoln pennies. One day, I was at a garage sale, and the seller had a big jar of mixed coins priced at a couple of bucks. I thought, hey, why not? I grabbed the jar and started digging through every single coin that night, holding my breath every time I found a Lincoln penny, hoping to find that golden ticket. Hours passed, and I found plenty of pennies, but no mint mark variety. I was about to give up when my dog jumped onto the couch, knocking over the jar and scattering coins everywhere. And right under his paw, there it was, a shiny penny that looked normal, but when I checked, it was a 2001 no-mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny. I was so excited I almost dropped it. Turns out, my dog was a better coin hunter than me that day. That lucky find taught me two things: 1, always double-check your coins even if they look ordinary, and 2, never underestimate a furry assistant when searching for treasure. This coin features the classic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the front and the memorial on the back, which makes it easy to identify. But the key is the missing mint mark. That if you want to check your pennies for this rare gem, use a magnifying glass and look just below the date on the front. No letter? Then you might be holding $1 million coin. But be careful, there are some tricky counterfeit no mint mark pennies out there, so it's best to have any suspicious coin authenticated by a professional. Now, you're probably wondering how to get the best price if you do find one. Condition is everything in the coin world. Even the rarest coin loses value if it's scratched or worn out. So keep your coins clean and stored properly. And if you want to sell, go to reputable dealers or auction houses. Believe me, selling $1 million penny isn't like selling your old comic book on eBay. Speaking of value, the market for coins like this can fluctuate, but right now, the 2001 no-mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny is estimated at around $1.2 million. That's insane for a coin most people throw in the parking lot. The story of the 2001 no-mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny, a tiny coin with a huge price tag and a fascinating backstory. Remember my dog's lucky find? That's the kind of unexpected treasure moment every coin collector dreams about. Maybe your next jar of pennies holds the key to $1 million payday. That if you enjoyed this video and want to keep learning about coins that could change your financial game, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more stories, tips, and tricks coming your way. Plus, you don't want to miss out on how to spot coins worth big money before anyone else does. Thanks for hanging out today. Now go check those pennies. Who knows, your next treasure might be just a coin toss away. Where we dig up some serious treasure, and I'm not talking about buried chests or pirate maps. Today, we're diving into a coin that looks like something you find in your couch cushions but could actually make you a millionaire. Yep, you heard that right. A tiny little penny from 1982 with no mint mark, the Memorial Lincoln penny, can be worth a whopping $1.3 million in today's market. Now, before you rush off to empty every couch, drawer, or your grandma's jewelry box, stick around. I'm going to break down why this penny is so special, how to spot it, and share a little story from my own coin collecting journey that might just save you a fortune. Plus, I'll show you how to avoid the rookie mistakes that could cost you big. If you love uncovering hidden value in the coins you probably overlook every day, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next on this channel. First off, the 1982 No Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln Penny. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? Lincoln pennies have been around forever, and most of us have handled a bunch without a second thought. Most 1982 pennies have a mint mark indicating where they were made, like AP for Philadelphia or AD for Denver. But some coins from that year have no mint mark at all, which is unusual. On top of that, some of these no mint mark pennies were struck on a different metal composition than usual. Instead of the typical copper-plated zinc, some were made from pure copper. And this difference is huge in the world of coin collecting. Because copper pennies from 1982 are rarer, and that rarity combined with the no mint mark makes them super valuable. It's like finding a golden ticket in your chocolate bar, but in this case, it's a penny. First, check the date. It has to be 1982. Then, look for the mint mark. If there isn't one, you're onto something. But that's just step one. Next, you need to figure out if it's copper or zinc. Copper pennies from 1982 weigh a little more, about 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies are around 2.5 grams. That if you don't have a scale handy, you can sometimes tell by looking at the edges. Copper pennies have a solid copper color all around the edge, while zinc pennies have a silver-colored core visible if you look really close. Now, this might sound a bit technical and maybe even boring if you're not a coin nerd, but trust me, it's worth learning. These pennies can be worth up to $1.3 million if they're in mint condition and verified authentic by experts. Okay, let me share a quick story here. A while back, I was hanging out at a friend's house. We were cleaning out some old stuff when I spotted a jar full of pennies. Just for fun, I started sorting through them. And guess what? I pulled out a 1982 penny with no mint mark. I thought, well, that's interesting. But I didn't have a scale or the tools to check the metal content. So I just tossed it back in the jar and didn't think much of it. Fast forward a couple months, I decided to get serious about coin collecting. I finally bought a scale, did some research, and went back to that jar. Sure enough, there was that same penny, this time weighed and tested, pure copper, no mint mark. I could barely believe it. It took a lot of patience and some expert grading, but that penny turned out to be a real treasure. It wasn't just a lucky find, it was proof that sometimes the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight, or in my case, at a friend's house in a dusty jar. If you have any 1982 pennies lying around, especially without a mint mark, don't just toss them in the piggy bank or use them to pay for your coffee. Take a closer look, weigh them if you can, and get familiar with what to watch for. It could be your ticket to some serious cash. If your penny looks like it's been through a war zone, it won't fetch the $1 million price. Coins need to be in top shape, no scratches, no corrosion, no weird stains. If you think you have a winner, get it professionally graded. That's the only way to be sure. I once tried to explain to my dog why I was obsessing over a tiny penny. She looked at me like I was crazy, probably thinking, you chase sticks, you sniff everything, and now you're worried about a piece of metal smaller than a biscuit? But hey, she didn't mind when I celebrated with a treat after discovering the penny's value. Alright, to wrap this up, the 1982 No Mint Mark Memorial Lincoln Penny is one of those rare gems that can turn your coin collection into a gold mine, well, a copper mine that's worth over $1 million. The key is knowing what to look for, checking the metal content, and keeping an eye on the condition. That penny hiding in a friend's jar could have been tossed aside if I didn't get curious. Your own lucky find could be waiting in your pocket, your drawer, or your kid's piggy bank. If you want more tips on finding coins worth money, how to spot rare editions, and coin collecting strategies that actually work, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't miss out on the next treasure we uncover. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep hunting, keep checking those pennies, and who knows? You might just find the next $1 million coin. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a penny and thought, it's just a penny, then tossed it into the cup holder of your truck or the junk drawer with the batteries that may or may not work? Well, buckle up and don't toss that penny just yet, because you might be holding a 1971 Lincoln Memorial penny worth $1 million. Yes, I said it. A penny. 1 cent worth $1 million. That's not a typo. That's real. And today, I'm gonna tell you exactly why this coin is so valuable, what to look for, how you might have one sitting around collecting dust, and why this little copper beauty might just change your life. But before we get to the juicy details, let me tell you a quick story that might hit home. So picture this. A couple years ago, I'm at this yard sale, sipping on some watered-down lemonade, flipping through a box of old baseball cards and cassette tapes. You know the stuff. Vintage, dusty, smells like 1993. And then I see this glass jar labeled Old Pennies, 5 cents each. And I'm like, heck yeah, I love a bargain. So I start digging through it, looking for anything interesting. I wasn't even serious about coin collecting at that point. Just knew enough to be dangerous, grabbed a handful, paid my 25 cents, and took my treasure home. A week later, I'm bored, sitting on the couch, flipping through those pennies and bam, I see it. A 1971 with an S mint mark. Nothing fancy at first glance, but the more I researched, the more my eyebrows started levitating. Turns out, some of these babies are worth big money. First, let's talk about the S mint mark. That S means it was minted in San Francisco. Now, San Francisco pennies in 1971 weren't all that rare. Over 500 million were struck. But what you're really looking for is one that's in pristine, perfect, almost heavenly condition. We're talking proof-like quality, deep cameo, graded at the top by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. The $1 million value comes from a handful of these coins that are in near-perfect condition. We're talking about coins that have been sitting untouched, almost like they were cryogenically frozen since 1971. One of them, a 1971 Lincoln penny graded PR70 deep cameo, sold for over $1 million at auction. You hear that? $1 million. For 1 penny. Now if you're staring at your coin jar thinking you've got a jackpot, hold on. Not all 1971 pennies are created equal. Most of them, even in good shape, might fetch you a few bucks. Some maybe a few hundred if they've got strong details and clean surfaces. But the big bucks come when the coin is flawless. I mean, not a single scratch. Not even a dog hair. That's when collectors lose their minds and open their wallets. Number 3, inspect the condition. If it looks like it came out of a coin folder from a grandpa who only touched it with silk gloves while wearing a monocle, you might be in luck. Number 4, check for proof-like features. These coins were made specifically for collectors: super shiny background, frosty raised images, and ultra-clear details. That's a recipe for dollar signs. A regular 1971 penny in circulated condition might get you 10 to 50 cents if someone's feeling generous. 1 in uncirculated condition. We're getting into the $5 to $50 range, depending on quality, but the ones graded PR69 or PR70. That's when you're talking hundreds, thousands, or even millions if it's the right coin, the right buyer, and the right auction. Here's where it gets real fun. The top $1 million example was graded PR70 deep cameo, which means the contrast between the shiny background and the frosty Lincoln is so good, it makes your eyes squint. That coin went to auction, and the bidding war was intense. Somebody walked away with a coin they'll probably never spend, unless they're buying a Ferrari with exact change. So I sent my 1971 penny off for grading. Turns out it wasn't the $1 million one. Womp womp. It came back as PR67, which is still nice, and worth around 75 bucks. Not bad for a 5-cent investment. I took my wife out to dinner with that coin. She didn't care about the coin, she cared about the steak. But hey, that's the life of a coin nerd. Don't ignore those jars of old pennies. Don't toss your change in the car like it's meaningless. And definitely don't walk past a yard sale without checking the coin section. Because you never know, that little copper penny with the 1971 stamp might just be your ticket to an early retirement, a brand new truck, or at the very least, a steak dinner with your better half. If you found this video helpful, entertaining, or at least mildly amusing, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button like you're flattening a penny on train tracks. Hit that like button too, and drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're just starting your treasure hunting journey. And remember, I'm always dropping tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth serious cash. So stick around, and let's turn spare change into big change. Hey there my fellow coin hunters and pocket change pros. You ever hear that old saying, a penny saved is a penny earned? Well, what if I told you a penny could actually earn you over $1 million? Yeah, I'm dead serious. That's not just gas station coffee talking either. Today we're diving into a little copper-colored superstar you've probably walked past or spent on gum. Yep, we're talking about the 1996 Lincoln Memorial penny that's been turning heads and breaking necks in the collector market for a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. That grubby little penny I chucked into the tip jar back in '06 could have paid off my mortgage. Well, buckle up because we're about to break it all down, how this happened, what makes this coin so special, and how you can find one yourself. And don't worry, we're gonna have some laughs along the way too. I mean, come on, we're talking about $1 million pennies here. That's already hilarious. Alright, let's kick this off with a little backstory on the 1996 Lincoln Memorial penny. First off, the D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint. And 1996. Not exactly ancient history. We're not talking about a coin dug out of a Roman ruin here. This was a year of boy bands, dial-up internet, and weird haircuts. So what makes this penny so dang valuable? Well, here's the deal. Most 1996 D pennies are worth, well, a penny. But once in a blue moon, the mint messes up just enough to create a rare variety or an error coin that sends collectors into a frenzy. In the case of the $1 million 1996 D, it's all about the condition and the error. This particular penny hit the perfect trifecta. First off, it was struck on a transitional planchet. That's a fancy way of saying the blank coin metal it was made on wasn't the usual copper-plated zinc they were using at the time. Instead, it was struck on a leftover bronze planchet from earlier years. That makes it insanely rare. Add in a razor-sharp strike, flawless surface, and pristine condition and boom, it's a collector's dream. Now I know what you're thinking. How the heck do I tell if I've got one of these magic pennies? Great question. You gotta grab a magnifying glass, yep, go full Sherlock Holmes on your change, and check for a few things. First, look at the color. That bronze planchet gives it a richer, more golden tone than the usual 1996 D pennies. Second, check the weight. A regular 1996 D should weigh around 2.5 grams. But if you've got one of the rare ones on a bronze planchet, it'll weigh closer to 3.1 grams. Not a huge difference, but it's enough to send collectors into a happy dance. Third, the mint state. If your penny has no scratches, no wear, and looks like it just rolled out of the mint this morning, you might be holding something big. Now let me tell you a little story. So about 3 years ago I'm at this local flea market. Nothing fancy. Mostly folks selling used tools, VHS tapes, and knockoff sunglasses. I'm digging through this dusty old jar labeled Lucky Pennies, and I grab a handful just for fun. Cost me $3. Didn't think much of it. A few weeks later, I'm sorting them out at home. Yes, I do this for fun, don't judge, and I find this 1996 D that looked way too shiny. I weigh it and it's just a hair over 3 grams. I send it in for grading and boom, came back as an $58 Australian transitional error. Now it's not the $1 million version, but someone still paid me over $3,000 for it. Not bad for a flea market find in a $3 jar. And listen, I know most of us aren't walking around with digital coin scales in our pockets. But the point is, you never know what treasure's hiding in plain sight. That penny in your sock drawer, that jar in grandma's kitchen, or even that pile in your car's cup holder, you could be sitting on a payday and not even know it. And what makes the 1996 D so wild is that it looks like any other penny. No dramatic double dies, no missing letters, no alien faces hidden in Lincoln's beard. Just a tiny minting mix-up and the right coin at the right time. Oh, and let's not forget the wild world of coin auctions. The $1 million 1996 D. It was snagged by a private collector who was obsessed with rare transitional errors. Word is, he'd been searching for one for over 20 years. That's some serious dedication. But hey, when you've got deep pockets and a soft spot for shiny copper, I guess anything goes. Alright my friends, here's the bottom line. Don't ignore your pennies. Don't throw M in fountains or use M to level out your wobbly table. That little 1996 D sitting in your pocket might just be your ticket to $1 million payday. Check the color. Check the weight. Check the condition. And if something feels off, in a good way, get that sucker graded. That I always say, the best coin finds come to the folks who keep looking. So dig through that change jar, raid your couch cushions, and start paying attention to the details. Because coin collecting isn't just for history buffs and guys with magnifying visors anymore. It's for anyone who wants to have fun, learn something cool, and maybe, just maybe, strike it rich from the smallest piece of money we've got. If you had fun hanging out today, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment telling me if you've ever found a rare penny in the wild. And if you want more tips, more wild coin stories, and more laughs while we hunt for hidden treasures together, stick around. Because this channel is all about turning pocket change into paydays. Alright fellas, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a simple penny, yep, just 1 cent, could be worth a jaw-dropping 1.2 million bucks? That's not a typo. That's 6 zeros behind a 1, and yes, we're talking about a coin you might have rattling around in your junk drawer, hiding in your couch cushions, or chilling in that old coffee can your grandpa kept on the garage shelf. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1968 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny. Now I know what you're thinking, it's a penny, how special could it be? Well, buddy, this ain't just any penny. This little guy could pay off your mortgage, buy you a shiny pickup truck, and leave enough left over for a fishing boat and a weekend cabin. So grab your cup of coffee, sit back, and let's talk money, the kind hiding in plain sight. And I've got a personal story for you that'll make you check your pockets before this video is over. First things first. Let's break down what makes the 1968 D. Lincoln penny so interesting. So you see the D mint mark under the date. That D stands for the Denver Mint. In 1968, Denver cranked out hundreds of millions of these pennies. Yep, they were pumping them out faster than your uncle tells fish stories. Now, the average 1968 D penny is worth, well, about a penny. Maybe a few cents if it's in nice shape. But here's where it gets spicy. There are a handful, and I mean a handful, of these pennies that were struck with such rare errors or have such perfect features, they're now worth a fortune. We're talking about collector-grade specimens with flawless luster, perfect details, and sometimes incredibly rare minting mistakes. One such coin, a 1968 D. Lincoln penny in pristine red condition, what collectors call red for its bright coppery shine, graded MS 69 by PCGS, went on the market and fetched a cool $1.2 million, let that sink in. A coin that once bought bubble gum now buys beachfront property. Now, here's where it gets real for regular guys like you and me. A few years back, I was helping my dad clean out his old workshop. You know, boxes of screws, bolts, tools from the 70s, the usual dusty mess. We come across this old peanut butter jar filled to the top with pennies. I mean, it was packed. Probably weighed more than a bowling ball. My dad looks at me and says, "Wanna sort through those and find a treasure?" I laughed and said, "Only if the treasure's hiding under 50 years of rust." Well, long story short, I took that jar home and over the course of a few weeks, I started sorting those pennies. I wasn't expecting to find anything special, but guess what? I found two 1968 DS in really sharp condition. Not $1 million quality, but definitely collectible. I ended up selling them for around $30 each. Not bad for something that had been sitting next to a box of nails for 40 years. Now, let's talk about what to look for in this magical $1 million penny. A high-grade penny will have a bright red color and almost zero wear. If it looks like it just came out of the vending machine, you might have something special. Errors: look for doubling on the date or letters, that's called a double die. Sometimes, there are off-center strikes or die cracks. Those oddities can jack the value way up. If you think your coin looks minty fresh, send it in to get graded by PCGS or NGC. Without that little plastic slab and certification, collectors won't shell out big bucks. I know it's tempting to polish that coin up, but don't. Cleaning a coin can cut the value in half or worse. You want that original surface, grime and all. Collectors go nuts over the 1968 D and high mint state grades because they're so rare. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny fraction survived in pristine condition. Most of them got pocketed, spent, scratched up, or tossed in coin jars like the one my dad kept. Guys like us who remember Lincoln pennies from childhood. We remember using them in payphones, arcade machines, and even throwing them in fountains hoping for a little luck. Who knew the real luck was hiding in the coin itself? So, the next time you're staring at a penny thinking it's worthless, remember the 1968 D. That little copper coin could be worth more than a new truck, a dream vacation, or your kid's college tuition. And hey, don't just let your change jar sit there collecting dust. Dive into it. Grab a magnifying glass, pour yourself a drink, and start the treasure hunt. You might just find your own piece of million-dollar copper. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on how to spot coins worth big bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons more coming, from secret mint errors to rare coin strategies that'll make you the Indiana Jones of pocket change. So don't miss out. Subscribe now and join the hunt. Who knows, your next penny might just make you a millionaire. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever reached into your pocket, pulled out a handful of change, and thought, just a bunch of pennies? Well, what if I told you that one of those dirty little coins could be worth a whopping $1.3 million? Yep, you heard me right. A single 1968 Lincoln penny with no mint mark could be your golden ticket. That's enough to pay off your mortgage, buy a muscle car, and still have money left to build the ultimate man cave. Now before you go flipping your couch cushions inside out or robbing your own piggy bank, sit tight. I've got all the juicy details on why this penny is so rare, what makes it valuable, and how you might just have one hiding in plain sight. And hey, stick around because I'm going to tell you a story involving me, a metal detector, and a very confused raccoon. Trust me. You don't want to miss it. Alright, let's dive into this mystery penny. So what's the big deal about the 1968 Lincoln Memorial penny without a mint mark? Here's the scoop. Most pennies from 1968 were minted in either Denver or San Francisco. You'll usually see a little letter D or S just under the date on the front of the coin, right next to good old Abe Lincoln's chest. But once in a blue moon, a penny pops up from that year with no mint mark at all. That means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but in 1968, Philadelphia wasn't even supposed to be producing Lincoln Memorial cents. So how did it happen? That's the million-dollar mystery. Now this little error might seem like no big deal, but in the world of coin collecting, a minting mistake like that is like finding a four-leaf clover in a haystack. It makes the coin extremely rare, and rarity is what drives up the price. Combine that with high demand from collectors and bam, you've got a penny that's worth more than most people's cars. Or in this case, $1.3 million. To make it even more exciting, this isn't some perfect, fresh from the mint looking penny. Some of these valuable ones have slight wear and tear, they've been passed around, maybe even used to buy bubble gum back in the day. So don't dismiss your pocket change just because it's a little dirty. You might be holding a fortune. Next, look under the date. Is there a mint mark? If there's a D or S, sorry buddy, that's not the million-dollar one. But if there's nothing there at all, and I mean completely blank, then you've got something special, but hold your horses. Not every 1968 penny with no mint mark is worth a fortune. Counterfeits exist, and even legitimate no mint mark coins need to meet certain criteria. It's gotta be in high-grade condition, collectors call it MS, which stands for mint state. And there are some die varieties and striking errors that push the value even higher. If you think you've got one, take it to a professional coin grader. They'll slap it in a case, give it a grade, and possibly change your life. I'm talking about walking into a coin shop with a copper penny and walking out with your name on a yacht. Let me take you back to the summer of 2014. I'd just gotten this old beat-up metal detector off a garage sale table for $20. Didn't think it worked. I figured I'd play around in the backyard with it. Maybe find an old nail or a soda can. Well, I'm scanning around near my garden, when suddenly this thing starts beeping like crazy. I dig a few inches down, nothing. Keep digging, still nothing. Then, out jumps a raccoon from the bushes and scares the life out of me. I scream, it screams, and I end up on the ground with dirt in my shoes. After the raccoon drama, I finally dig up a crusty old coin. Turns out, it was just a 1982 penny. Not worth more than a cent. But for a brief, shining moment, I thought I had struck it rich. That moment right there. That's what coin collecting is all about, the thrill of the hunt. You just never know. So there you have it. The 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a true copper king hiding in plain sight. It's rare, it's valuable, and it could be hiding in your junk drawer right now. And if that doesn't make you want to check your change, I don't know what will. Now listen, if you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on coins worth real money, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button like you're flattening a penny on a railroad track. Smash the like button if you've ever found a weird coin and thought, could this be the one? And don't forget to leave a comment telling me about the strangest coin you've ever found. I read every single one of them. Hey there my fellow treasure hunters. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at a boring old penny and thought, well, this little guy can't buy me anything anymore? I mean, unless you're living in 1952, 1 cent isn't getting you far. But what if I told you that one very specific penny from 2013, with no mint mark, is now worth $1.4 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $1.4 million. Not a typo. Not a joke. This thing is worth more than most people's homes. It's the kind of penny that makes you want to tear apart your couch cushions, raid your coin jar, and maybe start eyeing that pile of change in your car a little differently. So sit back, grab your favorite drink, and let me tell you everything you need to know about the 2013 no-mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny that turned pocket change into $1 million miracle. And yeah, I'll even share a little story about how I almost gave one of these away for a pack of gum. Don't laugh. I still lose sleep over it. Alright, let's break this coin down. First off, we're talking about the 2013 Lincoln penny. This one still has the familiar image of Honest Abe staring off into the distance like he just remembered he left the stove on. The back features the Union Shield design, a symbol of national unity, and let me tell you, this little guy is now uniting collectors with serious dollar signs in their eyes. Now, normally, pennies have a mint mark under the date to show where they were produced. P stands for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But this particular 2013 penny has no mint mark at all. That missing little letter is exactly what makes it a potential goldmine. Well, back in 2013, most pennies were minted in Philadelphia and carried no mint mark, so at first glance, this doesn't seem all that rare. But here's the kicker. A tiny batch of these no mint mark pennies were struck on experimental planchets, fancy coin speak for blank metal discs, that were never meant for public circulation. These were test pieces that somehow slipped out into the wild. Talk about a wild coin escape. Like a jailbreak for currency. Now here's where it gets spicy. One of these error pennies was graded by a top-tier certification company and valued at, wait for it, $1.4 million. That's right. Someone found a penny, paid nothing extra for it, and cashed out like they hit the numismatic jackpot. Let me tell you, when I heard this, I nearly spit out my coffee. Why? Because in 2014, I remember clearly going through a roll of pennies I got from the bank. I was hunting for wheats, you know, the usual suspects. And I saw this shiny 2013 penny without a mint mark. I thought nothing of it. I shrugged, tossed it in the spend later pile, and probably used it to help pay for a vending machine snack. And now that I think about it, that snack was stale. A stale chocolate bar, and I missed out on $1.4 million. Go figure, but hey, we live and learn. And now I want to make sure you don't miss out on a similar payday. So let's talk about what you should look for. First, check for that no mint mark, obviously. Then take a good close look at the color and luster. These rare pennies often have a smoother, shinier finish than your average cent. They might look more like a proof coin or have a slightly different tint due to the unique composition of the test planchet. Next, if you think you might have one, don't start spending it just yet. You'll want to send it off to be authenticated and graded. Companies like PCGS or NGC are your best bet. And if they confirm it's the real deal, congratulations, you just found yourself a retirement plan in copper form. And by the way, while you're digging through your change, keep your eyes open for other rare oddballs from that era. 2010s coins might seem modern and boring, but that's where the trick lies. Most folks overlook modern coins because they think all the valuable stuff is old. But not anymore. The market's shifting. Collectors are getting smarter. And you're right here on the front lines with me. So let me ask you again. Got any 2013 no mint mark pennies lying around? Still think that change jar isn't worth your time? My friend, that jar could be holding $1 million prize and you wouldn't even know it. All it takes is one lucky penny to change everything, and hey, don't be like me. Don't let $1 million slip through your fingers because you were distracted by a candy bar. Learn from my mistakes. Keep your eyes sharp and your coins closer. If you liked this story, had a laugh, or maybe even found yourself suddenly inspired to raid your spare change stash, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping coin tips, treasure hunting strategies, and crazy coin stories every week. You never know when the next $1 million find might pop up. Hey there, folks. Stop what you're doing, check your couch cushions, and grab that jar of pennies that's been collecting dust since the Clinton administration. Why? Because that little copper coin you've been ignoring just might be worth $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Not $1.50. Not $15. We're talking $1.5 million for a single 1991 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. A 1991 penny? I had 100 of those in my lunch money pile back in middle school. Exactly. That's the point. These coins were everywhere, but this specific one, the no mint mark 1991 Lincoln Memorial penny, is a hidden gem. So today, we're diving deep into why this coin is so valuable, what makes it rare, and how you can spot one. I've even got a personal story that might just make you laugh and cry all at once. Let's roll. Alright, let's break it down like an old school boombox. The 1991 penny was struck at multiple mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now normally, pennies from Philly don't have a mint mark. But in 1991, something strange happened. A few pennies were struck without a mint mark, yet had characteristics that made them stand out from the rest. Here's the kicker. A tiny batch of 1991 pennies was minted using a proof die, the kind of die that's supposed to be used only for collectors' coins. Imagine someone taking grandma's fine china and serving up a hot dog. That's basically what happened here. And boy did it make collectors go wild once they found out. Well, it's all about the strike quality, the die used, and how incredibly rare this combo turned out to be. We're talking about a handful of these beauties that snuck into circulation, and boom, years later, they're popping up with auction prices going through the roof. And when I say roof, I mean the roof of the Empire State Building. One of these coins, and I mean one, sold for $1.5 million at a private sale. That's the kind of money that makes you consider quitting your job and becoming a full-time penny hunter. Now, I know some of y'all are like, but I've got a drawer full of pennies. How do I know if I've got the jackpot? There shouldn't be one. Nada. Zip. If you see a tiny D or S, sorry, back to the piggy bank. Lincoln's bow tie, his beard, and the steps on the Lincoln Memorial should be crisp. Like, Grandma's Thanksgiving pie crust crisp. It'll have that mirror finish. Not like your regular beat-up pocket penny. Now let me tell you a little story about how I almost cried over a penny. I was helping my uncle clean out his garage one weekend. He's one of those guys who keeps everything, empty peanut butter jars, old gas station maps, you name it. While going through his dusty tool chest, I found a rusted tin full of old coins. Most of it was junk. But one penny caught my eye. It was shiny, it was a 1991, and there was no mint mark that I froze. My heart skipped. I swear I saw the ghost of Abe Lincoln give me a thumbs up, took it straight to a coin shop the next day, chest puffed out like I just found gold in my backyard. The guy examined it for a few minutes, looked at me with that pity smile and said, "Sorry, partner. This one's a regular Philly strike." Turns out it wasn't the rare die variety. But hey, it was still worth a little more than face value, and I walked away knowing I wasn't crazy. Ever since, I've been on a mission. Because if I got that close once, I can get there again. And so can you. Now let's talk about market value for a sec. Coins like this don't hit the market every day. When they do, big-time collectors go to war over them. Think secret phone calls, private auctions, mysterious briefcases, the whole 9 yards. The most recent verified sale? A jaw-dropping $1.5 million. That's a house. That's a retirement plan. That's every mistake you've ever made suddenly becoming okay. Never, and I mean never, overlook your change. That crusty old penny at the bottom of your junk drawer might just be the ticket to your dream life. The 1991 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny proves that even the most common things can hold the biggest surprises. Go check your change jars. Raid your junk drawers. Ask your grandma if you can look through her penny stash. You just might strike it rich. And hey, if you found this video helpful, funny, or at least mildly entertaining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, more strategies, and more stories about coins worth big money. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Hit that like button, leave a comment if you've got a penny story of your own, and share this with someone who still thinks pennies are just pennies. Let's make some coin together.